Good morning and welcome to this episode of your Tech Care podcast with me, Sangha, and my friend Morten. Today we have with us Chris Taylor, Sales Director, MyWorkMode. Welcome, Chris. Really
Hello.
looking forward to hearing your story.
Yes, thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
It's nothing less than fantastic to have a fellow Newcastle United supporter on the podcast today. Welcome, Chris.
No, thank you, mate. There used to be so few of us, but now we're meeting more and more. Now we're good again.
Yeah. Revealing our true selves.
Yeah.
Chris, so obviously when you're looking at the social care sector today and at every conference you go to, I think that the main topic is workforce and understanding the recruitment, retention crisis. I think it's fair to use that word. And what you're doing right now with MyWorkMode is a plug into that field. Can you tell us a bit more about just the overall value proposition? What is it that you guys do?
Yeah. So basically, my background was more always workforce management and sort of tech for field staff, really. So not just care, but also facilities management, things like that. And I used to work for a business that did earned wage access. So it was a carer would do a shift, complete that shift. The time and attendance system would mark them as arriving and leaving a job or a visit. And the pay would be accessible to the carer straight away then. So that was very much on the retention side of things. But the more events we did with that, I kind of noticed that, having something that would help with temporary staffing, in terms of a tech solution for it. Obviously, there are care agencies and things like that, would be a good thing, because the business that had the earned wage access platform also had a tech-led staffing platform that worked in facilities management. So I was kind of looking into the market to see, if there was another option out there for care businesses, care homes and domiciliary care alike. And Morten actually introduced me to Tanya, who had started MyWorkMode and was looking for somebody senior to help sort of push that forward, and kind of here we are. So basically what MyWorkMode does is allows care businesses who are struggling for staff, whether that's ad hoc or long term or short to medium term, access qualified vetted carers at the click of a button, essentially, in their local area. So we take up the vetting of them, so we make sure they're all qualified to work, have right to work in the UK, and have the relevant qualifications for the customers we have. So we have some that work with learning disabled people, some that are elderly care, some that are children's homes and things like that. So we have to sort of cater it for each qualification set and make sure they're vetted to work, basically. But once that's done, the homes that we work with or the domiciliary care businesses we work with can access them straight away, really. So they just put the postcode in that they need a shift filled for. That opens up the pool of carers available in that area, and they can offer them a shift here or there. The carers themselves actually set their pay rates. So with a standard agency, there's an hourly rate which will take some margin into consideration for the agency themselves. We charge a booking fee, so it's a one-off, regardless of the length of the shift, and they pay that up front, and then they pay the carer then at the end of the week or the month or whatever it might be. The best suits the business, really. So the carers are all self-employed, and that's something that's quite important. Not all, most are self-employed with us, and we feel that's important because a lot of the businesses who do something similar to what we do are taking them out of roles in care and then employing them on a 0 hours contract with their business. So instead of them having full-time work for a care home or a domiciliary care business, they're now sat in a pool of carers for a tech-led staffing platform that isn't necessarily generating them shifts. So they're maybe having to find work elsewhere, but obviously they're out of that sort of recruitment pool for the care sector at the moment in the UK, which isn't great. Recruitment's difficult. There's lots of reasons as to why, and retaining those staff is also difficult. So by utilising our solution, we sort of take that out of the situation. Really, we say, right, these are self-employed carers. They work for you to get their overtime pay, essentially, rather than, in lieu of their normal pay. They've all got full-time jobs or part-time jobs with other care businesses already, generally, and they can fill shifts for you as and when needed because their business doesn't necessarily need them, or they might want to earn extra money because overtime policies and things like that might not allow them to earn as much as they could. So we offer that to any sort of care business. So that's whether it's care homes, independent ones. So we've got a care home that's got sort of one home. It's just a family-run thing. And we've got some that have got big groups of homes, like 60 homes is our biggest client. And then we've got some domiciliary care businesses in different areas as well, where carers drive to and fill a patch of care or longer visits. So what we're finding is, in terms of the competition and things like that, we are sort of aiming to be more ethical in that we're not taking carers out of the sector. We're not adding to the problem of recruitment. We're allowing them to stay in their current roles. But also, if a care home has used a carer a number of times and wants to take them on, we allow them to, and we don't charge them a fee for that. Obviously, we can see that recruitment's a struggle. Not every business has the knowledge base to recruit either. So, that's one of the big reasons as to why recruitment's a struggle in the care sector, because the knowledge isn't there of the management, or they don't have the time to do the recruitment and advertising. So we kind of take that out. They get to try them before they buy them, essentially, and put them in a role. We just ask them to stay on the platform and allow other homes to benefit from them as well. And by doing that, what we're finding is carers are getting better work-life balance, able to earn more money as they need to. So obviously the carers might set their pay rate, but the clients can also negotiate. If they're offering them more shifts, they might offer them 50p less for the extra hours, that sort of thing. And, it keeps their morale up. They're working in a business where they see the same people every day. The occasional day working elsewhere cheers them up slightly, I'd have thought. So it's all going quite well at the moment. And yeah, we just want to sort of push out our message to the wider care audience in the UK, really.
That's really nice. I just want to pick a little bit around the training. So who handles the training for these carers? Is it something that you guys do, or is it?
So at the moment, we obtain their qualifications that they've already acquired. So because these guys are already in care roles, they've passed their mandatory training, they'll have done their medication training and things like that already. So we just need to see the certificates and whatnot. So you've got an in-house team that does the vetting, checks that the qualifications are correct and certificates are the right ones, and that they can do the job as needed. Vets their CVs and gets references and things like that, and checks their right to work before putting them on the platform to work. So they're all qualified on the basis that they're already working in the sector. But we are looking at working with some training partners going forward, so that if people just wanted to do this alongside their hospitality or their retail or their office job to pick up some extra hours over the weekend, then that's a possibility, provided they go through the training and that sort of thing.
Nice. Sorry, Morten, I have another question in there.
That's okay. Come on.
Go for it.
I'm interested.
So, do you also collect feedback about the carers from
yes,
the clients?
so this is
there
one
a
of
rating
the
system you have?
Yeah, so this is one of the good things about our system, that there's rating both ways. So the care homes and the care businesses rate the carers as how well they've done or how professional they've been and that sort of thing. So it's 1 to 5 stars, fairly standard. They rate them after each shift, or they get asked to, and we encourage them to quite a lot. But also, it goes the other way as well. So obviously, we tend to vet the ratings, because if somebody upsets someone, you don't want it sort of affecting their business, or you don't want it affecting the carer either. But we try to mediate a little bit. But essentially, the carers can vet the care homes as well, so that when other carers are being asked to work by that care home or that care business, they can see that they've worked really well with a previous carer before saying yes, essentially. So, and what we find as well is amongst our carers who are obviously working for other care homes and other care businesses, they're taking good ideas from, best practice from other care businesses, taking it back to their businesses, and there's good knowledge share that generally there might not be otherwise.
Oh, this is really interesting. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's a very informal but super nice side effect that you actually have this knowledge traveling around with the shifts that people take on.
Yeah.
I think that I was wondering was when I was looking at the website, which by the way is super slick, but the sort of the supply and demand. Can you always meet demand, or is it the other way around that you'd want more clients on there, or is it more people that are professional carers?
Yes, so we at the moment, obviously, we're a slightly smaller business. We're looking at investment and increasing the exposure we get. So at the moment, what we're tending to do is find a client, recruit in that area, get that client up and running, and then find more clients in that area to cover what we've recruited, kind of thing. So, for example, got a good client we've taken on in Devon, of all places, usually a nightmare for tech and things like that and people. But yeah, we've taken them on in August. They've had brilliant uptake on the system internally with the staff they've got and who's going to manage the system and that sort of thing. But we've had some decent recruitment there as well, more or less straight away. So we've recruited well for them. They've used the people as needed, and everything's going well. Both rating each other well as well, so that's good. And then they've given us an extra home because they've got 2 homes, one in Devon, one in Cornwall, to recruit for. So we've done the recruitment for that one now, and that one's just rolling out. So we're kind of customer led in that sense. So generally, what we're finding is the initial, we have carers in London and Yorkshire because we have customers there who've required it essentially. But for areas like Devon and Hampshire and other places as we grow, we tend to be, there's a little bit of a delay in terms of getting the recruitment done. But the more exposure we get and the more people we work with, different partner businesses and things like that, we're finding that people are signing up in areas we have no customers. So like Newcastle, for example, I've seen some, we've got a few in Cumbria and the East Midlands and things where we've got a couple of customers in the East Midlands, but not where they need them. So people are finding out about us as carers and signing up to the platform, and just we're waiting to get a customer there so that we can then do the vetting, get them onboarded, and get them in roles essentially. So it's a little bit, see what comes first. Obviously, with London, we've got a high uptake of customers, carers even, and a decent uptake of customers as well. So the supply and demand sort of matches. But generally what I'm saying when I'm doing demonstrations and meeting people is that because we have no carers in the area, it might be a certain amount of time. We'll go through a recruitment process workflow where we kind of say, right, what sort of qualifications you need them to have? Do they need to be drivers? Do you need meds training? That sort of stuff. And then we'll go and recruit then from that information, put them in the system once they're vetted, let them know they're good to go, and then just work with the company then to make sure they can do the posting accordingly and that sort of thing and get them in. So yeah, it's a little bit mix and match at the moment, but as we grow and start to get more clients nationally, then the pool of carers, we can just focus on the pool of carers then, keeping that chopped up.
And how long is your recruitment period? As in, how many days or how many weeks do you take to recruit?
Yeah, so again, that's a little bit horses for courses. We average about 2 weeks at the moment. I think the longest thing to get is usually the references. And I know this is the same for care businesses employing carers from other care businesses as well, because what tends to happen is, people wanting references to move to a new business is generally delayed because people don't want people to go. They're trying to retain those staff and hoping people will change their mind and that sort of thing, which is natural when it's as difficult it is in the market at the moment. So, but because they're doing this as a side role, they're not leaving the business, they're not reducing their hours, they're just coming to us to pick up an extra day here or there as needed. And we're finding picking up the references is a lot quicker than normal. And obviously we've got a dedicated team that manages that sort of following up of documents and chasing those references. So around 2 weeks is average. We've had some where we've had people sign up in days. It isn't massively costly either. We use your standard things really to recruit, to sort of social media and a few job boards and things. So it isn't costing us a lot to recruit in those areas. And because we're tending to recruit for large areas, essentially, for clients with a few homes in that area, we can take on a lot of staff in one go. And obviously, as long as they understand what the premise is or the platform is, then there's nobody really getting turned away, provided they've got the relevant qualifications and experience.
And the DBS thing, do you file for new DBSs for each of these?
No, so we use their existing ones. Obviously, a lot of DBSs are online now, so it's just a case of giving us the credentials for their online DBS, and we can check that and vet that, and we do that at the start. So as soon as we've sort of got the details from them, we'll do that straight away. And then if there's a delay between the client actually booking a shift and the carer coming on board, we'll check again just before they book them onto a shift as well. And then obviously intermittently throughout the period they're with us. So yeah, we just use the online versions these days. Obviously the older ones where you've got a fancy bit of paper that you've been sent, we tend to need. But yeah, most people are moving on to the online thing now, so it's a lot easier.
This is such a fantastic.
And how are you finding it being a tech?
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to move towards being a tech company and how that's scaling for you and what sort of challenges are you seeing, and so less of the reputation but more being like a proper tech company in this sector, obviously an SME. Are there any things that's difficult or recent successes that you can think of that?
Yeah. So I think the difficulty is the concept we're trying to push, really. I think speaking register managers and people who run care homes haven't got a lot of time to be discussing things with salespeople. So trying to pitch them a new idea is quite difficult at times when, you ring them and you say, right, I'm going to help you solve your recruitment issues. They go, yeah, of course you are. Sorry, I haven't got time to see you later. Okay. So that is the difficulty at the moment. I think helping them see that what we're doing is going to give them that time back. They're not going to be chasing agency staff or trying to recruit as best they can or ringing their friends and family and asking them to come and work for them, that sort of thing. We're just going, right, these are carers, they're in the area, they want to work, they're ready to work. Just use them. It's cost effective because we only charge that booking fee. It isn't related to an hourly rate or anything like that. No. It's just, it is what it is. So it's a little bit more ethical and easier to swallow. And yeah, I think that's the difficulty at the moment, is selling the concept. And obviously care and people in the care industry have generally been sort of behind in the adoption of tech. I know businesses who are using scheduling and time and attendance way before the care industry adopted them, and this will be no different, I don't suppose. So it's just getting through that. And like I said, we're working with lots of different partners that do different things. So we're going to be working with a training partner. We're going to work with care planning and workforce management systems, so that all things that touch what we do, but aren't massively intrinsically linked. And it's just about then sort of distributing that amongst people's customer bases. We can then show best practice to our clients to say, right, we work with this company to do care planning or digital care planning, this company do scheduling and time and attendance and that sort of thing. So it's just lining all that up so we can kind of build a reputation of being sort of a good integrator and a good partner for systems they've already got in place. So it isn't a whole new thing. They're not scared of this standalone product that's out in the ether doing something that sounds like it should be good, but there's the whole fear of, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So, and then obviously the time constraint thing. So if we can make their lives as easy as possible and try and tie in with people they already know or systems they already use, then that's what we'll do.
This is, as you were sharing the story, I was sitting here thinking this is such a perfect solution for banks. And most of the companies, they often think about having a bank strategy, recruiting separate people for bank. However, here there is already a ready platform and they don't even have to, go ahead and have a separate bank strategy. They could bolt on your solution for these additional 10%, 15% resources that they would be needing. Really, really nice.
Yeah, so this is it. I think everybody's doing something. Most of the care homes that we work with are generally working with agencies already, So, Jane Smith falls ill during the week. She loses 3 or 4 shifts. You might get 1 or 2 carers who can pick up 2 of them, but then you've got to go to agency for the other one. And the average agency cost per hour is like £23, £24 an hour to a care home in the UK at the moment. Ours is like 30, nearly 40% less than that generally. Just because of the way we charge. Obviously, the aim is to be as ethical as possible and not add to recruitment headaches. So we tend to be a lot more cost effective. All the while, whereas an agency might say, right, we're charging you £24 an hour because it's a short term, like a short notice shift. It makes no difference to us when it is, as long as the care is available and they're willing to do it, then they're happy. We take our booking fee as is, whether you book it 7 days in advance or 3 hours in advance. And the carer also earns more. So the carers are earning, 30% more as well than they would be working for an agency. So it ties in nicely. And then the way we've sort of packaged the product means it could work in any industry, really. But obviously care homes, particularly bigger group homes, will have facilities management businesses within their care home group. They'll have hospitality businesses within their care home group. So there's the potential that we could roll out all of that and have FM staff who are within MyWorkMode, hospitality staff who are within MyWorkMode, and that they can be accessed accordingly nationally.
Yeah. Is that part of the future plans then? Is looking at other industries or?
Yeah, so I think the background of the business has always been care. So Tanya was a trainer and recruiter for a care business for a long time, and then started her own training business, and then has seen the potential for this and has rolled this sort of business forward. So she was always care first above everything because that's her background, that's her knowledge. But the reason it's not called My Care Mode or anything like that is because there is potential for it to go into other industries, and she's seen that as well. I think we want to get a good foothold in care and generate our sort of build a brand in care initially, and then branch off accordingly if we need to, really. But there's plenty to go at in care at the moment, particularly with this recruitment and retention piece.
Certainly. Chris, it's been really good talking to you.
Always a pleasure.
And you've got some big news, perhaps lingering, I know, because I've heard it on the streets. I'm not sure you can say anything today.
Not yet. Nearly.
We'll be looking out in the future to see what's happening with MyWorkMode, and the best to you and to Tanya with the business.
Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, should be some big news coming in the next week or two.
Nice.
And yes, so you'll have to get me on again when I can say more. But
absolutely.
Yeah, but it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Speak to you soon.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, review, and share your favorite Take Care podcast with your friends and colleagues. Until we meet next week, take care.